Hi, today is May 17th, 2023, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 808 for the year, That Shirt I Was Wearing Yesterday. That shirt I was wearing yesterday when I recorded the Negation and yesterday's poems felt really good on my skin. It was the first time I had ever worn it, and I'm still thinking about it a day later. I took a look at the label to see what the hell that shirt I wore yesterday is made of, and I was somewhat surprised to learn that it is 93% polyester and 7% spandex. And I'm also somewhat surprised to learn that I have inadvertently bought a shirt that I'll have to hang up to dry. The label says to iron it, but I'll be fucked if I'm going to iron it. I don't even have an iron. Fuck me. Maybe I should get an iron and an ironing board. Poem number 809, Arning Board. Bill Arning from the Student Teachers used to use an ironing board as a keyboard stand. I used to refer to it as the Arning board. The board would give a little when Bill pounded on the keys, kind of bounce up and down. I thought it was great that Bill didn't use a keyboard stand. A keyboard stand is a waste of money if you already have an Arning board. I think actually Bill or the teachers did eventually spring for a keyboard stand, or maybe Bill borrowed one. I don't know. I was really fucking drunk for most of their shows. I would say that it's ironic that the student teachers taught me nothing, except that they actually taught me more than any actual student teacher ever did. Poem number 810, Irony Board. The irony board sat in the closet most of the time, but now and again, when they felt it might be necessary, they would drag it out and let it do its thing. "How you doing?" the irony board asked the last time it was removed from the closet. "How's about we burn down a fire station or try to rob some cops?" They had heard these little bits of irony before, but smiled politely anyway. "Would you like me to recite the ending of The Gift of the Magi again?" the board offered. "No, thank you," they replied. "Do you know what I think is really ironic?" the irony board asked. "Yes," they said. "You think it's ironic that none of the things that Alanis Morissette mentions in her song Ironic are actually ironic." "No," came the reply. "I think it's ironic that I am an irony board and you are ironically bored of me." "That's not ironic," they protested. "That's just a pun." The board said, "Well, what about how you keep me in the closet all the time, and yet it took you years to come out to your parents and your friends?" "That would be ironic if it were true," they said, "but you just made that up." "Can't argue with that," said the board. "It would be ironic of me to argue." "No, it wouldn't," they said, somewhat angrily. "It wouldn't be ironic for you to argue. It would just be stupid." The board replied, "Maybe it is stupid and ironic for you to engage in discourse with an inanimate object." They took that as a cue to put the irony board back into the closet. They concluded that it wasn't one of those days when the irony board was necessary after all. Poem number 811, Iron E. E would be the first to admit that he was a bit of a weakling. He had no iron in her veins. So when some of the other people in her circle started to refer to her as Iron E, E had to acknowledge the irony. E was good-natured and was able to laugh at herself easily and often boisterously, and the people in her circle appreciated her sense of humor, even if they had to admit that E really was rather spineless. E appreciated her friends and the way they called her out on her shit. E found that their criticism was almost always constructive and helpful. E thought that it was slowly making her stronger. Iron E believed that one day, if E continued on her present trajectory, that E would keep getting stronger and would one day develop a will of iron, and that would be quite an irony for Iron E. And the last poem of the day, poem number 812, is called Iron. Yeah, I probably should get an iron and an ironing board and a bookshelf and another little table and some kind of something to store the air conditioners in when they're not in the windows instead of just stacking them on the floor. I'm 104 and I still live kind of like a moron. I'll tell me what. I'll wear that shirt from yesterday outside today because I still haven't worn it outside. I'll wear it outside, and if it gets wrinkled, I'll get a fucking iron and an ironing board, and if it doesn't get wrinkled, maybe I'll get a bookshelf instead. Thank you. I appreciate you. I still don't have those air pronouns, just flowing off the tongue the way I believe I should. It's a struggle, but I think it's a struggle worth struggling for, struggling with. It's a struggle worth struggling with. Thank you. I appreciate you.